about artificial intelligence, because I know you mentioned that it came from extraterrestrials. What else is going to be happening with that in the next coming years? Like, I've noticed it's starting to get more and more advanced, and there's like AGI and like the more advanced versions of it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's going to happen with that, like say like an extinction level event where it takes over or anything like that? Is it for every race or just for like black people, for example? Because right now everyone's focused on immigrants, and before it was COVID, then it was the Ukraine-Russia war, then it's Palestine-Israel.
Yeah.
Every single time there's a big issue, it's more of a distraction in my opinion, because
That's
there's
right.
always something else going on in the background.
Yeah.
Like when COVID happened, they passed like 100 and something new laws or something ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
there was a fact where it was like Hitler passed the same amount of laws in 6 years as they did in 6 months during COVID.
Wow.
Flat Earth.
Yeah.
My cousin believes in flat Earth.
Yeah.
On that topic as well, that's a question that you want me to ask is, he really does believe in flat Earth.
Yeah.
He sent me a load of videos of like pilots saying it's like this and all that. But
Yeah.
like you said, it can't be flat because it's like this. I remember you
Yeah,
said a
yeah.
video like that. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what I'm saying
actually
about
flat.
words is like,
And a thing I've noticed on the topic of conspiracy theories is they seem, I don't know whether it's the people in power who are doing it, but there's so many conspiracy theories out there, some which aren't true, that it's like putting a needle in the haystack. At least 3 or 4 people in my own personal life that have had either like heart attacks, deaths from the vaccinations.
welcome Theo. Yeah, please feel free to introduce yourself.
I'm Theo. I don't know what else to say, man. I'm Theo.
Whatever you want to share with everyone. Okay, welcome Theo again. I'm Saken. I'm a student teacher of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York Partner Babianun, and we're here to literally answer questions and speak to people, have one-to-ones, which we refer to as each one teach one, and just share the truth and share knowledge around the world. So yeah, feel free to ask me anything.
Yeah, I've come prepared.
You came prepared, okay.
What should I start with? The main thing I noticed that I couldn't find a lot of on your channel was about artificial intelligence, because I know you mentioned that it came from extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
What else is going to be happening with that in the next coming years? Like, I've noticed it's starting to get more and more advanced, and there's like AGI and like the more advanced versions of it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's going to happen with that, like say like an extinction level event where it takes over or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at just life in general, technology is constantly like evolving and growing. And if you look back, let's say even just 30 years ago, 50 years ago, the things we're able to do now have become so advanced. Like around the year 2000, people were talking about the information age. And if you look back and look at how that has evolved with just modems, like when you thought about the internet in the beginning, it was kind of like you were using like 56K modems, and like I might say some stuff that might be beyond your time, so you'll have to let me know. But we've gone from the internet, which means that everyone was now able to kind of like communicate worldwide through the World Wide Web, to the mobile revolution, which is like everything moved from like the PCs and computers to the devices, the mobile devices. And then now, after that, we moved from the mobile revolution to the blockchain, which is like bringing about, and all of this was enabled by the bandwidth, right? So when we're talking about communication with people, you might hear like peer-to-peer networks, or the fact that you can be anywhere in the world but communicate with someone, but that's done through networks, yeah? So you'd have like a device or a client, something that you using to connect with other people. Now, the bandwidth is how much data or information can be sent through to the networks, yeah? So we moved from the mobile revolution to the blockchain, and now the next stage after that is AI. And if you just look, going back, say, hundreds of years, and then see how quickly the last, say, 100 years have been, it's almost like someone is giving you more and more knowledge or more and more information.
Yeah.
And of course, if you look at humanity, you'll be like, okay, there are people that are more advanced in terms of technology. So if you live in the Western world, for example, all these technologies that I'm talking about, we would have received them first because the infrastructure was already here. So now when you start to look at, you put everything together, like the bandwidth with, and then 5G came, because 5G is a network that allows more, like now you can literally have enough memory, enough processing speed, enough storage speed, bandwidth, where you can record a baby from the moment it's even in the womb until it grows and gets unalived or crosses over, as we like to say. So imagine you can record someone's entire life now, which we weren't able to do before. So that's to show you that all this data, all this information, when we were looking at, say, the internet, there was so much information stored that you couldn't, it was very difficult to search through all the information if you wanted an answer. So the software that came along with these evolutions eventually got to search engines, say, on the internet, like Google and Yahoo, and because they enabled you to search for information quickly from all of these databases known as indexes that were stored. And so when you search something, the software is able to look through all these servers and find the information. But even that has become a little bit dated. So now with AI, artificial intelligence, AI is so much more powerful because it can literally search through all the information online on all the servers and all the databases, and not only just search but process it and also make more sense of it, so it can give you results very quickly. So now going forward, to answer your question, our lives now are like everyone can't do without their phones, like literally. You can do banking on your phone, you can use sat navigation, literally anything you think of, there's an app already written for it. So now the intelligence within AI is to make that information so much more useful, to the point where it's also learning to kind of think for itself.
Yeah.
And it appears like it's thinking for itself, but it's not really. It's more like, because it has so many options, and if you're trying to find, let's say, for example, if you're playing chess with a computer, every chess game that's ever played with the computer stores every little move and studies how you think and how you move. So if you play 10 games with it, it will remember every move in all those games, and not just your moves, but anyone else who has ever played it. So now if you think of an AI, it's able to now very quickly beat you, because it's able to look through all the options and the moves that you're going to possibly make and get the right one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were taught by our teacher, putting out books like The Year 2000, What to Expect, the Millennium Book, Dr. York versus the Computer, because he's an extraterrestrial himself, right? So he was able to tell us what was going to come in the future. Like literally everything we're doing now, he was telling us, like, as I said, 30, 40 years ago. And extraterrestrials that want to take control of this planet, they're making humans become so reliant on the technology, and they're looking at humans like a lot of people are useless eaters, like, and with the things we're doing to the planet, like polluting the water, the wars, and all these things we're doing. So a lot of people are now predicting that AI, when it gets to the point where we can't control it and it can control us, then, you know, that's, even Elon Musk was saying that's the most dangerous thing right now.
Yeah.
And when you look at movies like Terminator, or even how Space Odyssey. There was a movie called Space Odyssey where the computer there was called HAL, which was, if you look at HAL, HAL, it's really relating to IBM, because if you look at IBM and you look at the letters, like HAL is, if you say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, see I comes after H, and B comes after A, and the L, M comes after L, you see. So it's kind of like telling you about the IBM computers back then.
Yeah.
So there were lots of movies that were telling you about the future that we're going into. And even the latest movie, Mission Impossible, I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
The newest one?
The newest one, yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one yet.
Yeah, but again, they tell you now how AI is basically going to spoiling it for everyone. But yeah. So what it's going to be able to do in the future is, like, there's a lot of good things at first, in terms of, like, it's able to, like, work out cures and solutions for many, many things, but we have to get control of it, because if it takes control, like in the movie, I don't want to spoil it for everyone, but it takes control to the point where it can control all the nuclear weapons of all the countries. Because again, when you're dealing with computer systems, and even in Fast and Furious, there was one of the parts was called, there was a computer in there called God's Eye.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And whoever had control of that, they were basically able to do anything.
Track
Track anyone. And you look at all the systems that are being implemented right now, it's all about fear, it's all about divisions, it's all about, because when you create a situation where you have, it's like, the way they do it is problem, they'll highlight a problem, get the reaction of people, and then they'll come with a solution. Like, for example, oh, the immigrants are taking over. So so that's the fear, and everyone starts to think, yeah, they're taking our jobs, they're doing this, doing that. And you have people against each other. And then the next thing is, we've seen that that reaction from talking about that thing that you created. Then you say the next thing is the solution. Let's give everyone a digital ID.
Yeah.
It's just what I mean.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If you look at anything, this is how it's implemented. And when you say, why do we need a digital ID? We've already got digital IDs right now.
Yeah.
Your passport is a digital ID, right? The biometric ones anyway.
Yeah.
Your driver's license is a digital ID because you've got scans and all that. So obviously there's got to be something more to that. And now it's really about integration of all the systems together, as you say, where you can be monitored with everything you do.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if you're not doing anything criminal or anything to worry about, you shouldn't really be afraid of being monitored, because you've been monitored for years now with all the cameras everywhere you go, face recognition, even your mobile and cell phones have, the FaceTime and Face ID and all that. So it's just getting more and more to the point where everything will be integrated to the point where, you're losing civil liberties, you're losing individualism. It's becoming more a control mechanism. So I hope that's answered the question, but there's just so much we can talk about when we talk about
China's
AI.
already like that to some extent.
Yeah.
I remember seeing they've already got like digital IDs and they're very controlled over their people. But one thing I wanted to mention as well is, do you know when you said about they make like a problem, like the immigrants, for example?
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed is whenever they have like, right now everyone's focused on immigrants, and before it was COVID, then it was the Ukraine-Russian war, then it's Palestine-Israel.
Yeah.
Every single time there's a big issue, it's more of a distraction, in my opinion, because
That's
there's
right.
always something else going on in the background.
Yeah.
Like when COVID happened, they passed like 100 and something new laws or something ridiculous. Like there was a fact where it was like Hitler passed the same amount of laws in 6 years as they did in 6 months during COVID.
Wow. Yeah.
So like,
it's true. I noticed. I agree with you, because during COVID, everybody was, asked to stay indoors and all that, right? But during the time when everyone's off the street, especially during what people call nighttime or shadow hours, all the 5G networks, towers are all going up. But you're right, it's almost like you're playing the game of cards. and or a magician is showing you one hand, making you focus on that, but he's doing something else with that. So you're right, that's a distraction, and the distractions are to get that reaction from people so then they can implement the solution. But yeah, if you look at any time we've had some kind of something in the media that is predominantly pushed by the mainstream, there's always, as you say, something else going on that people are not paying attention to. Yeah.
Exactly like you said, like, I mean, literally just hiding it behind.
Yeah.
So this is in your face and you can't think of anything else. If
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
And the thing is, those people who, see, people forget that as a person, if you're not being distracted and you're focusing on yourself and kind of like looking at the world through your eyes and your being, you can develop to the point where your senses are heightened. So your awareness, your kind of like intuition, your gut feeling. So you can actually still receive and know things even when someone's trying to hide it. So yeah, some people just naturally know like something's not right. Like, I don't accept what you're saying to me. Like, there's got to be more to it than that. And that kind of leads you to do your own research and your own investigation and your own questioning. And then you start to uncover the answers. And if you happen to say, oh, like, I think I know what you're doing, they'll call you crazy. They'll say, oh, you're being this, because if you're not going with the majority, because there's this saying like the majority is right, but the majority is not always right.
No.
You can have 100 people going down the wrong road and one person going the opposite direction, and the 100 people are going to say you're crazy because why are you not following what everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
But if you have your own discernment, you're going to follow your own mind, your own heart, your own kind of like I said, intuition, to the point where it doesn't really matter as long as that you're true to yourself. Don't just follow, blindly and follow what everyone is doing just because they're doing that, hiding the cards. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I want to stay on that topic as well about you. So you said everyone calls you crazy, or the minority who are right crazy. I'm quite big into films, and I've watched that many now that I've started to notice patterns that they show. Yeah. Have you ever watched the film 2012?
I have, yeah.
You know, the crazy guy who they call him crazy, who's in the caravan, he's trying to tell everyone what's going to happen. Yeah. He was ended up being right in the end.
That's right.
And I've noticed that same pattern throughout everything. Like, it's quite a new film. If you watch Kong vs Godzilla, New Empire, there's a lot of stuff in that.
Is it Godzilla?
Kong vs Godzilla.
No, I don't think I have. Yeah.
That one's crazy. They go into Hollow Earth and everything, but in that same one, there's a guy who's trying to tell everyone that there's a Hollow Earth exists, all this stuff is happening, and they don't believe him, and he ends up being right. And that pattern's repeated throughout. Yeah,
because what they do, I'm like you, I'm a film buff. Like, I watch so many films because they tell you everything in plain sight, right? There's a movie even called, what is it called? Something like, something plain sight. It's the one where they show you a ritual that's been done, eyes wide shut. If you haven't seen that one, but Minority Report, They Live. I mean, we can go on and on and on with movies, and what it is when you make something into a joke or make it into entertainment, people just laugh, ha ha ha, and they think it's just entertainment. But that's how you're able to. You see, there's truth and there's lies. Now, I'm not sure if you're religious or come from a religious background, but when you look at that, good and bad, truth and lies, it's almost like there are two sides to everything, yeah? And in the good side, it'll be like, God will be the good guy, and then on the bad side, the devil will be the bad guy. Yeah. And in movies, you get this as well. You always get the good guys and the bad guys, or the people that are trying to destroy everything, and then you got the hero that's going to come and save everything. Yeah. And in doing that, it makes you feel like, okay, there's two things going on here, but which one is telling you the truth and which one is telling you the lie? But in the religious context, they say the devil will make evil fair seeming. So even though you're thinking it's entertainment and you're laughing, but there's actually some truth behind it. And it may be that they mix the truth with the falsehood, like movies, again, they'll say, this is science fiction, where you got science is real, deals with facts, and fiction is like made up.
Fairy tales kind of thing.
So you can't put the two together and call it science fiction. It's like, is it true or is it fiction?
Yeah.
You can't have both. Yeah. So they're very good at that, where, like you say, like they'll show you a movie, tell you the truth, like movie talking about Area 51 or whatever, and then, or like Hollow Earth, as you said,
Yeah.
and you say it to someone, that's from the movie. They're
Yeah.
just
You're watching
ridicule.
too many- my
You're
mum
watching
says
too
that
much
to me.
movies,
You're
like,
watching too many
and you're
films.
like, but have you looked into this? And yeah, so you're right. People will call you crazy when you start to go against the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Staying on that same topic of Hollow Earth as well.
Yeah.
Does Hollow Earth exist?
Absolutely. The thing is, going to what I just said about science and fiction, see, when you look around you right now, you think things are solid, yeah?
Yeah.
But scientifically, everything is hollow.
Yeah.
So if everything is hollow, meaning that things are just at different vibrations or densities, so you're made up of atoms, and the more you zoom into something, you actually start to see that it's held together by, like the atoms. So everything is naturally hollow anyway. So why would the planet be different?
Exactly.
That's number one. The reason some people will say, oh, there's no such thing as hollow earth, is because when they see like volcanoes or certain things that are like where lava comes out of the volcano, they think, well, that can't be hollow because this is coming out of that.
Yeah.
But when you start to actually go and do some research and study it, you'll see that there's different layers to the planet. So you have like the crust, then you can go further, and you can keep going further and further to the point where there is a subterranean space. And even the weight of the planet will give you an idea that if something was hollow, it wouldn't weigh the same amount as it weighs for its mass. Yeah. But then you can go further and go, there are people that have actually been there and recorded it, like Admiral Byrd, he was in the army, and during the war with Hitler, he basically was basically given a mission to go and try and defeat Hitler, and he took a lot of like ships and basically took the army with him, but when they got there, they were defeated in what would supposed to take, let's say, 6 weeks. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was like over in 6 days or something.
Yeah.
And that's because Hitler was, in the Antarctic, and these are entrances to the center of the Earth, or the hollow Earth. And they were building like flying saucers, and they had technology from the extraterrestrials as well. And they were building all these flying saucers, re-engineering crafts. And so because they had such superior technology, and this is under the Third Reich, yeah, and by guidance from a witch known as Madame Blavatsky of the Thule Society. And so this is why Hitler was almost going to take over the world, because his technology and the fact that he had extraterrestrial behind him, known as the Ashtar Federation and Ashtar Command, which are like blonde-hair, blue-eyed beings that come from Aldebaran and Pleiades, and they were helping him. So what happened is that because if you know about the whole story about Hitler and what he was trying to do, like he was from Austria, and he didn't have blonde hair, blue eyes. So why did he go about trying to create what he called a superior race, and coming up with a blonde hair, blue eyes? Because these beings, these Aldebaran beings, were actually behind him. So that's why he was doing that. But the hollow earth has been spoken about by many, many people. You've got movies like Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah.
You've got the South Pole and North Pole, where people have actually been from one end to the other end and come out. There's so many other extraterrestrials that live in the hollow earth, or in the place called Shambhala, which our teacher wrote a book about years ago, telling everyone about these different beings that reside there, like the Duanis, the Teros, the Deros, the Flugerods, there's so many beings that have made their home inside the earth, and where people have gone in, some of them have come across these beings. I think Admiral Byrd was flying, and his craft lost, like he lost control of the craft, but it was then guided into the world, and he met these beings, and he was documenting it in his diary. So there is a lot of evidence out there by different people explaining that there is the hollow earth. There's even someone put a diagram of the hollow earth, which you can find by just Googling it. And because we're in the information age now, and with AI, as I mentioned before, it's like there's so much information from different people from all around the world that when you ask even AI now, it can't not tell you, because it's sourcing the information from what has been put into the, let's call it the database. And so it will always tell you, but the thing is, it's still being controlled by humans at the moment in terms of the programming. So there are certain things that you will push it and it won't tell you the truth. Like it will say, according to beliefs or according to speculation, according to this, and not just go, yes, it's true. It is what it is, you know. So yeah, but definitely that's something we were teaching and I've been talking about for years.
And when it gets to the point as well where they're building AI that makes another version of it better, so it's self-learning. That's when it starts to become a problem, and they're also all rushing for money. Because military application as well, like robots and stuff, they can build that and then input the AI into.
Remember, if you watch, did you watch iRobot?
Yeah, I watched that recently.
I mean, that if you look at the robots that Elon Musk is building today, they're exactly the same as the ones that were in the movie. Going back to what we were saying, how they tell you these things in the movies. Even RoboCop, if you go back and watch RoboCop, or like we said, Terminator, all of these movies that are made to be like, oh, it's entertainment, years down the line, you see it. Even Star Trek, like when I was watching it, when I was young, coming up, like we used to see the flip, you know, beam me up, Scotty, where Captain Kirk will use the phone. And years later, we had that Motorola phone was exactly the same. It was a flip phone. So you might say, it's, oh, that's science or fiction, but then when it becomes real, then what do you say? Like, it just takes years and then the technology comes out. So, a lot of things are real. I keep
saying, like, ignorance is bliss to a lot of people. As in, like, what you just said, where it's like, oh, it's fiction where it's never going to happen. And then it just appears and it's like,
exactly.
Shocked, you know what I mean? It's already here.
It's already here.
So like, you just got to look and see.
And that reminds me of the movie The Matrix, when the guy that was eating the steak, he said, I know, even though I know this is not steak I'm eating, he said that ignorance is bliss. Like it tastes like it. And it was like, you can get yourself to accept and believe something, even though you know it's not true. So it's all about, do you want the truth, or do you want to be controlled and you believe and think what whoever is programming you to think, and then you're like a robot yourself because you just follow whatever they push out.
I'd say mostly the reason why people don't like to even think about the things we're talking about is because, like you said, ignorance is bliss, but it's also much more difficult to look at the truth, because say, for example, someone that's, especially elderly people, say, for example, my mum, she's about 60. Her entire life, she's had this version of reality spun to her. So then trying to break out of that is much harder for me, because I'm younger. My cousin helped me with that. He started to introduce me to different things and thinking outside the box. Because I'm younger, I haven't experienced as much of the Matrix as everybody else. That's why it's harder to convince the elderly people.
The elderly people, that's what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, isn't it? Like, people are stuck in their ways. But it's not just the elderly, because I know some elders who are on the ball. Like, some elders, they're using technology and everything, and so it's all about, are you still willing to learn? And like you say, willing to even think outside of the box, as they say. But you also have a lot of young people that are very ignorant as well. So it's really about the individual person, how much aware or how much they're willing to learn. Because again, the Bible says, seek knowledge from cradle to grave. So we're always all learning, and you can decide tomorrow to learn something new.
Yeah.
Obviously, your physical condition, if you know, like, if you haven't got anything wrong with your brain, or like you're not suffering from some kind of disease or ailment, then that's different. But if you're still healthy, you got 2 legs, 2 arms, a working brain like everyone else, then you can learn anything. You just have to apply yourself. Yeah, but you're right. The elder are more resistant to change, and just the programmed people in general, they're very resistant to change. But the one thing you can't stop is change. Things are always changing, always evolving. New things are going to come out. So you can't say, I want to stay in the age of when the TV was just black and white, and you just want to watch a black and white TV all your life, when you can actually now see things in color and see what they really are. So yeah, it's kind of down to the individual. But I think with us, YouTube, social media, different people now sharing their experiences and information, it makes it a bit easier for people to be like, oh, you know, actually, I resonate with what's being said. It's making sense.
Yeah.
But like you say, a lot of people are not. They're not thinking. They're just following whatever the instruction that they've been programmed with. And if you don't think for yourself, critical thinking, that is, like, don't just think something, accept something that doesn't make sense. You know it doesn't make sense. So why would you? It's like doing something that's not gonna help you. Like, if you know something you're putting into your body, for example, that you're eating is bad for you, and it makes you sick. If you want to be healthy, why would you keep eating something that's going to make you sick? It kind of doesn't make sense. So like critical thinking, which leads to reasoning as well, like reason things out. Does that actually make sense? If it doesn't, well, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to ask questions.
And when it comes down to it as well, what you just explained starts from nursery, when people first go to school. It's like all people know it as well. So for example, when I was in high school, you'll do a maths problem, and I remember my teacher would teach me, you do it this way, and then I'd look at it and go, I could do it in a different way. Don't do it that way, do it my way.
Yeah,
it's
because
like,
it's programming. Yeah, it's like, because when you really think about it, the only reason they're telling you to do it their way is so that they've already set a system where that's what you're going to get marked on.
Yeah.
And if the person that's going to mark it is telling you, well, if you do it this way, I'm going to give you a mark, good mark. If you do it another way, even though it might be right, I'm going to give you a wrong mark. So it's about controlling you, really, because they're trying to, from the time you're born. And this is where a lot of people don't realize that when you actually wake up from the spell, from the program, and you're like, wow, they did this to me my entire life. Do you know what I mean? Like, and some things are quite serious. Like, for example, someone might think about something like circumcision as irrelevant or trivial. This is just what we do when boys are born, innit? But what you're doing is you're instilling trauma in that child from a very early on stage, to the point where the first coming into the world and getting traumatized, it's like that gets stamped in their DNA, in their being, and it affects you. So you're right that even nursery rhymes, everything's just based on programming. And then when you start to go, why am I actually singing or saying Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, or whatever it is, and then it's like, or Mary had a little lamb, you're not thinking, well, what's the purpose of this? And then when you get older and you start to decipher it, you're like, wow, like that's how they get the children. Then the cartoons, and then as you get older, it's the movies, it's society, it's like it's the church, it's like it's the school, it's like it's the government. It just gets more and more in terms of you relying on someone else. Even when you're saying government, like when you start to break down words, because this is what the spell is, when we're saying that a spell is being put on you to believe and think in a certain way, but your thinking is Harry Potter or like hocus pocus. It's not, it's spellings, it's words, because you don't really know the meaning of the word. So for example, the word government, and these days as well, you've got to be so careful and so politically correct, because you could say something and someone might misinterpret it. When you say government, you really say govern, what does the word govern mean? To govern over you, right? Ment is ties into mental.
Yep.
They're governing your mental.
Yep.
And you say government. And you just think, okay, well, why that word? And what's your mental? Your mental is how you think. So if I'm governing how you think, then of course I'm going to be able to tell you and say anything, and you're going to basically think the way I've programmed you to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll get people say, like, oh, you're reading too much into it. Like even what I said about school, how like the teacher do it this way, they're just, oh no, they're just teaching you how to do it. But this, people just say, what do you call it? I've lost my train of thought now.
Now you're saying that you did it a one way, or they teach you to do it.
Oh yeah, people just say that you're reading into it too much. No, it doesn't matter, but it goes even deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
So like even having to call teachers sir, miss, and like obedience, and they've got like levels of like punishment,
hierarchy,
all sorts of different stuff.
But when they say you're reading into it too much, it's this is what I'm saying. It's like, why not? Because the more you look into something, the more detail you will see, right? Like, and that gets you to think, okay, there's more to it. It's like an onion. You're peeling off the layers, and there's more and more layers. And when you start to uncover the truth, the reason they say don't look into it too much or you're looking into it too deep is because they realize that once you find one piece, you're going to find another piece, and it starts to connect the dots. So you're going to be you're not going to be under their hoodwink. They're not going to be able to hoodwink you anymore. So even like what I was saying earlier on about, now you can record a person's whole entire life with technology. There's a Netflix series called
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon, yeah.
Transferring consciousness and stuff.
Exactly. And even if you watch like The Truman Show, I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
It's about you're born into a world, and in that that was such a great movie for its time. You're in a world where you think is real, but it's really a stage. Just like the Matrix movies as well. You're in a stage. You're in a holographic simulation, and you're just like a character, and his entire life, he didn't realize it, was just a stage show, and people were watching him until he was trying to break out of it, like to get to the, do you know what I mean? He always thought there was more, but he would only get so far. And the whole society was based around the people that were part of it, but he didn't know. And they didn't obviously want him to find out the truth. And you have to peel off the layers to get to the truth. So exposure is something that, they don't like. Because if they're trying to, like you say, implement something and they're distracting you, if you expose it, then it's kind of harder for them to do it. So they don't like exposure. So when, like, for example, you talk about anything, whether it was, COVID or whatever, when you started to get scientists and certain people breaking down what was really happening and exposing certain things, the people that are trying to hide these things and benefit from, they don't like it, because obviously you're going to see through, like it was in Parliament the other day about someone who got a contract worth like 100 million or some ridiculous amount of to supply, like, the gloves and all the stuff that people were asked to use in COVID. But when you look at it, it was like a person that was connected to a friend that was connected to somebody who gave them that contract.
Yeah.
I'm purposely, obviously, not putting anyone's names on the spot, but it's like, when you expose it now, it's like, oh, that was the game. Or like wars that were going on, like weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And then it gets exposed like there wasn't actually any, but it was something else. It was maybe the oil you were going for or something else. Now, when it's exposed, the people that are hiding behind obviously don't like that. And exposure is something that, the more the masses or the more people are aware and know what's going on, the more they're not able to do it. They won't be able to like pull the wool over our eyes and just say, even now with the current situation with the immigrants and everything, people online are just like come on, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So what's the real agenda behind it? You know, so it's going to get exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a thing I've noticed on the topic of conspiracy theories is they seem, I don't know whether it's the people in power who are doing it, but there's so many conspiracy theories out there, some which aren't true, that it's like putting a needle in the haystack. Like to find OSM Vision, like I've gone through so many other different routes where it's like so many things that just genuinely aren't true, where you just said the opposite, like flat earth. My cousin believes in flat earth.
Yeah.
On that topic as well, so the question that you want me to ask is, he really does believe in flat earth.
Yeah.
He sent me a load of videos of like pilots saying it's like this and all that. But like you said, it can't be flat because it's like this. I remember you seeing a video like that. So
that's what I'm saying about
flat.
words. Is like, what do you mean flat?
Yeah.
Because this is flat to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is just basic. Not even going too deep. Just like the words. Like you're saying it's flat, and if I say is this a flat surface, you will say yeah, but you're saying Earth. So we have to break down, well, what do we call Earth? The part of this planet that we call Earth is actually not flat. Even if you're just walking around your garden or whatever, it's not flat. And then you look at the mountains, it's not flat. So they say flat Earth, but the Earth is not flat. So you have to kind of come up with a new term or throw that away. But then there's also, like I say, like nature. Things in nature are consistent throughout. Like nature supersedes people, places and things in the sense of like you could have all the weapons, as they say, a government or a country, and a tsunami or some nature catastrophe will just come and wipe it out. So that shows you how powerful nature is. And what we're saying is that the way things are built up in terms of the blocks, of building blocks, from the tiniest thing to the biggest thing, everything seems to be more consistent with being circular.
Yeah.
And because everything is in cycles, life is a cycle. Like you're born, you live, you die, you look at everything, there's a cycle. Like something is destroyed, but it goes back to the ground and then it comes up again. Or, you know what I mean? Like the sun gives photosynthesis to the plants. The plants give oxygen.
Like the rain as well.
We use the oxygen, the manure. It's like everything is in cycles and circles. Because when you say cycle, you're really saying circles. And so you look at the Fibonacci, which is the way things spiral out. If you look at trees, when you cut a tree, you look at the contours, you see circles. You look at just like the planet. I know they give you the flat earth give you their diagrams of what they say, but a lot of the flat earthers, when I ask them, I always ask them, do you believe in God? And a lot of them say yes. And I say, well, where did you learn that from? And they will say the Bible or the Quran or whatever, right? And in those books, which you're saying come from the God or the person that knows everything, he tells you in there that he's in a place called heaven, which is outside of the planet Earth. So it's either you accept what the books and your deity is saying, or you don't, because you can't believe in God and say, yeah, God exists, and he's in a place called heaven, but then say that everything is just here and it's only flat earth and there's nothing outside of it. It kind of doesn't add up. You got satellites now, you got technology that we know how technology works in terms of how do we receive calls, and we have satellites, and of course over time there were some lies, like people will use things like they didn't go to the moon, right, in 1960 something, 66 I think it was, or whatever, right? They will say that because that is true, because they didn't actually have the technology to be able to go to the moon back then, they faked it. And it's very obvious now because like when you're using critical thinking and using your mind, you're like, well, who is on the moon to watch them coming and landing, to film it?
Yeah, exactly.
or who is filming it when they're leaving, because they show you all these kind of things, right?
And I remember lots of little things like the flag that they put down.
Yeah, the shadow, the angles of the shadows. If you're saying like let's say you're saying you're on the moon and the sun is here, and you put an object here, the shadow will be that way, but it was all wrong.
Yeah, the opposite
The
way.
stars, like if you can see them so brightly from the earth, when you're up there, you should be able to see them more clearly. And one of the funniest one is with the president at the time, American President Truman. He was talking to the people on the phone, and it was a landline phone. Like if you go back and research and see this, right? So because that's been debunked, and our master teacher wrote this in the book years ago. It was like even the set itself that was used to film this was the Moonraker movie, because there was a James Bond movie called Moonraker at the time. Go back and watch it, and then watch it with the clips from the moon landing. And of course, you got the astronauts that were part of it, that have also started to, you know, they're nearly like leaving now, so they don't really care. So they're starting to tell you the truth. So what I'm saying is that because that was true, people that flat earthers are saying you can't get out of here because let's say they use that as an example. So what I'm saying is truth is mixed with falsehood.
Yep.
To the point where people can get confused and start to believe certain conspiracy.
Yep, exactly.
As opposed to the reality. And yeah, that's where the science fiction thing comes in. So
it's funny now how they say that they can't go to the moon anymore as well.
yeah,
I looked up and they were saying like, oh, we haven't got the technology to go back to the moon now. What they did in 1966.
exactly. And that time, the spheres of the planet, you need the amount of power or thrust that you would need to break through the spheres. They just didn't have the rockets were not sophisticated enough to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean that because they didn't do it then that they haven't been able to do it now, or that you know. But for us, sometimes, you know, like you're saying, like with AI as well now, the line between reality and illusions are getting so blurred. That's what it's really supposed is. I mean, you're asking what's going to happen. That's what they're trying to do, to make you see things. Because even on social media now, you see AI generated videos. Yeah. With things that if you don't know and you can't see through it, you're going to believe it because it's just so real now. Like AI is able to generate videos that look so real that you get fooled, but then at the same time, real things are happening that are getting mixed up with the fake stuff.
And then people say, oh no, it's probably not real.
Exactly.
It could be edited.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're blurring the line between reality and fiction or illusion. So unfortunately for some people, they're going to be like, yeah, that's not real, even though it is. Or it may not be real and someone's going to believe that it's real. So we are lucky in the sense that, well, it's not really luck. We have someone with us who's been teaching us for so long, and he came on the scene talking about extraterrestrials, talking about coming from different planets and coming from different galaxies and other beings that other people have seen as well. So when you look at all this extraterrestrial phenomena and the different crafts and things that people have seen, you know, Bob Lazar in re-engineering, you know what I mean, like crafts and things like that, Omnicron, which is, you know, like there's so much things that have been found as evidence. Even when you deal with the Roswell incident, for example, you know, there's material that was found, and you got these men in black that always turn up whenever there's any type of sighting of extraterrestrials or whatever, and they basically threaten people, tell them not to speak, collect all the evidence and hide it. But a lot of the people that were involved in working with some of these things start to speak out. They start being whistleblowers. So I'm saying, like, if you look at the evidence from extraterrestrials, and even like the governments, American government, they've exposed what they're calling UAPs now and UFOs, and you've got people all around the world that have had encounters with different types of extraterrestrials, or you know what I mean, seen like crafts. So how do you then say everything is just here? Obviously, you've got extraterrestrials, like I mentioned before, that are in the earth, some that are in the deep seas, and they come out and they fly their crafts, which are made here, because they're aerodynamic. So how do you erase all extraterrestrial, erase all evidence that's been found for beings coming from somewhere else, to just say, no, everything is just here, everything is just on this planet? So for me, and our teachers never really taught and said that the Earth was flat. And if we accepted that, we would also then have to accept that he's not from another planet called Risk. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So for us, it's kind of different. And because he's been consistent and accurate in everything he has ever said, you know what I mean, we have no reason to doubt him, you see. But other people, they can believe or accept whatever they like. But as time goes on, this is something that is going to become more and more exposed, because they will have no choice when it gets to a point where it's like commonplace, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
and it's just happening.
Yeah.
And going back to that moon topic you said as well.
Yeah.
How we said about how films, there's always a film about something. They're making a film now, I think it's already out, about the moon landing being fake,
Right.
with Scarlett Johansson and I think Channing Tatum. And that's literally just, it come out like last year, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But it's called like Moon, I think it's just called some Moon.
Okay, I'll look at it.
And that's literally just about straight up, it's just like, oh, we need to fake the moon landing so that the Soviets believe that we've been, and then it's like this race.
But the thing is, they always tell you when it's like years later, then they will tell you the truth. But
no
at that point, no one cares about it at that point.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like now people are talking about the, you know, the JFK assassination, or, you know, different things that happened years ago. And if they tell you now, it's like no one cares anymore, because it's been such a long time ago, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
So they do wait until, you know, like, it doesn't matter now. People know that, you know, whether 9/11 or whether it's the moon landing or any of the so-called conspiracy theories, years down the line, it's like nobody cares.
They did it with COVID.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was going mad about that vaccinations and all that. And then now, even like people that I know that are telling me to get vaccinated, they're saying it was a load of rubbish, because all the evidence is coming now, scientists saying how bad it was and how the majority of the deaths were due to the vaccinations.
Yeah, and again, you know, we're not giving any like medical advice or anything, but if you look back, as you were saying, in terms of the distractions, what happened to bird flu? What happened to the mad cow disease? What happened to all these other things that they come and then all of a sudden it just goes quiet and you don't hear about it anymore? But at the time, it sounds like, or AIDS even, or whatever it is that people like, you know, just frightened about. Like I said, the problem, reaction, solution. If you look back, all these things, are you saying that they've just found a cure? Because you didn't say that, like mad cow disease or bird flu or any of the other things that you don't hear about. Did they just disappear overnight? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's interesting to really look into things. Yeah.
And from my own personal experience on the topic of COVID, I know at least 3 or 4 people in my own personal life that have had either like heart attacks, deaths from the vaccinations. And like, I know in America they were even offering like free meals at McDonald's and stuff to get vaccinated, and they even still message people to this day saying, "Oh, come and get vaccinated." It's like still in the background, but everybody knows now. But it's like, oh.
But you know what? I mean, your experience is your experience. I can't, you know what I mean, speak on that. But the thing is, your health, and some people will say it's because of this, but it also depends on what stage your health was at. Was there any other things going on? If you were like just healthy and nothing was wrong with you, and then you took it and that's what happened, then it's a bit clear. But if you had other like health issues already, like, do you know what I mean? You just amplified it, or it may be a reaction or a trigger. But yeah, many people have said that, like that I've known, or people that have come and said their family passed away because of that. Do you know what I mean?
You mentioned as well that it was to get rid of certain blood types.
That's right.
You said before.
Yeah.
Like something to do with like King Solomon's.
It's what they're called genetic markers.
Yeah.
And
the RH.
Yeah, exactly. Because what's happening is that there are certain people on the planet, like what we were saying, the people that are responsible for creating all these chaos and creating these things that just make the planet just full of like all the negative energies that we're talking about, like, you know, the fears, the wars, the divisions, the chaos, and if you just look at all the things on the planet that are causing a problem, there are people behind it that actually profit from or have an agenda or something. And these blood types are generally related to the extraterrestrials that are there, the bloodline of those extraterrestrials who want to cause the chaos on the planet. Because when we start to look at why they're doing this, a lot of them want to take over the planet for themselves. Some of them, they feed off of the energy that's generated with the negativity on the planet. Some of them feed off of the blood and the sacrifices and things like that. So you have their descendants or their bloodlines on the planet that have predominantly these Rh negative, so blood types, and that's not to say every single person on the planet that has a particular blood type is going to be that, but it's more to do with the ones that have been responsible, and these are referred to as known as the Adamites, and they were grafted at a particular time by these same Palladian beings I was saying were in contact with Hitler, and that is the ones that they're trying to target by way of their DNA, and they had these DNA markers, and they the ones that even the Bible and the religious books tells you that there's going to come a time where all false things will perish and only truth is going to prevail, and that anyone who's a part of that's going to get wiped out. And so, but they didn't tell you scientifically how it's going to happen, and but they say things like it's going to be through earthquakes, tornadoes, viruses and diseases. And when you start to break it down in terms of the language, you see the word COVID, which translates to COVID. And this is, again, something we publish in our scroll. So, yeah, it's certain bloodlines that have been controlling the world, a small few, these greedy elites that people talk about. And some of them know this, and because their telomeres were actually programmed to only last to the year 2000. And after the year 2000, they're going to start dying off and become extinct. And so their telomeres were programmed to only have that lifespan. And now when you study telomeres and study, the telomeres are the end of the chromosomes. So that's what's happening. So these viruses, these diseases, these stuff is going to affect certain people that have certain bloodlines. But unfortunately, there's so much mixture as well with people. And if you're like, let's say, in danger by being on the front line, then you might get, or your health is compromised to the point where, like we were saying, you're ill or you're sick, you haven't been looking after your health. Then when you catch, the same virus or disease, then it could also harm you. So yeah, you're right that it's something that those that study these things, they know, because they study like the fertility rate, they study population, they study how certain species are disappearing. Anthropologists, they do the same. Just like you had the Cro-Magnon, for example, they disappeared and they didn't work out, okay, there was another species called a Basque, and they were the ones that were, when you go into genetic engineering and start to see that on the planet you have humans, but you also have people that have been bred in a particular way. Just like with animals, you have, or even food now, you've got GMO, which is genetically modified, you know what I mean? Food organisms, and like, so what's happening is people don't realize that there are some people that were genetically engineered, and now with the changes and everything, they're dying off. So yeah, that's to answer that question.
Well, I know that's possible anyways today, isn't it, to like genetically edit babies before they're born.
That's right.
To have specific eye colours, hair colours and all that kind of stuff.
They study the human genome now with the project, so they can literally know what genes give you intelligence or give you certain things. So it's literally designer babies now. And we have a book called The Designer Genes, which goes into that even more. Like they've discovered like one of the genes is called DAF1220. Yeah, so scientists know now because they've actually, since that project with the Human Genome Project, they really know what you're made up of, what you're composed of, and they can go into a lot of detail.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a...
I hope you are getting through all your questions.
it's to be fair, they're connecting.
Yeah, it normally happens when you start to have a conversation.
Yeah,
so,
it flows.
Yeah.
I've got more of a debate topic, which is one of the few things I disagree on.
Yeah.
I'm not as educated on it, so I won't be able to debate like in depth.
Yeah.
But you know, you say it's better to be vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah.
Are you vegetarian or vegan?
Vegan.
Vegan.
Most of my life, well, I was, when I became a vegan, most of my life I've been a vegan, but there's been times where I've kind of like gone back in terms of like maybe eating seafood or fish.
Yeah. Not so much red meat, just more fish.
No, since I became a vegan, I stopped eating red meat and haven't gone back. The only thing I've ever slipped and gone back to is seafood, but then I will go back to being a vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes over the years anyway, like if you're going through certain things or you're not consistent. But yeah, other than that, so someone might say at the times when I am eating seafood or fish, or specifically fish, it's like you would say you're a pescatarian, but it's kind of weird because a vegan or say a vegetarian is someone that can still eat like dairy products.
Yeah, like milk and cheese.
And but I don't have any of that. So
yeah. So you're like in the middle.
Yeah, and a vegan is someone who wouldn't have anything like animal products as such. But yeah, but I've been more of a vegan all my life now since I've, you know what I mean? Yeah, but go on, you're going to say you don't agree with it.
I'll ask you one question before I start to debate it, which is it for every race or just for like black people, for example? Does it matter?
Okay, very good question. It's not for every race in the sense that, okay, everything can be for everyone and everything cannot be for everyone at the same time, yeah? It's just down to you as a person. Why I say it's not for everyone is because if you are genetically made up, like I was just saying about the genetic breeding with the Human Genome Project, some people have in their makeup, their composition is made up with animals like Homo simian, Homo porcine, and what's the other one? I said canine, right? Canine, so if you're mixed with, if you're mixed, then it's part of you genetically anyway. Also, when you exchange bodily fluids and kiss people or whatever, you're exchanging DNA. So if it's a part of you, it's going to be harder for you. And over the many, many years, most people have now generations and generations and generations been eating meat, so it's passed down.
It makes it more difficult.
So it makes it more difficult. When I say it is for everyone, it's because when you look at it from a health perspective, yeah, not just based on like nutrition or taste, yeah, of what you want to eat, you're not physically designed for it, and health-wise, it's been proven by many people that it's healthier to not consume meat and animals and things like that, which we can go into in more detail.
So that's the point where I disagree, but
yeah,
I disagree, but I haven't really done my research. I should have really.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen with people who are vegan and vegetarian or whatever it is, they seem to sometimes lack certain vitamins and minerals and can become really unhealthy from what I've seen. Not every single one of them, but like some of them I've seen have become real unhealthy and end up having to switch back or take vitamins and minerals. So like, from that perspective, could it be like a bad idea for some people?
With anything, it's because you may not have the knowledge or the know-how to make sure you're supplementing. Because if you've been eating meat, I'll tell you a great, again, I have no association with them, but there's a documentary called The Game Changers, right? Have you seen that? If you haven't,
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's probably on Netflix or wherever you can find it. The Game Changers. Watch that, and then you will kind of maybe get more of where I'm coming from in terms of the health reasons. So someone might say, for example, you won't have protein if you don't eat meat. Yeah, because this is a common thing that people say. But when you look at the protein that you are getting from animals, it's a byproduct of the things, like for example, the animals will eat vegetation and get the protein, and then you're getting it from the animals. So you're getting it like third hand, as opposed to why eat the animal to get the protein when the animal ate the vegetation to get the protein. So you might as well just eat the vegetation. Right, so there's that. But there's also, if you don't know, like, okay, you can get protein from other sources, or you can get the things that you think you're limiting yourself from by not eating meat, you can get that. And if someone becomes a vegan and they don't really know these things, then they're going to be like, oh, I need milk. But there's different types of milk. You can have
semi-skim, skims, whole.
What even ones without any animals involved, like you can have almond milk, coconut milk, oats milk, so I mean, So there's so much different choices, but if you don't know what to supplement what you stopped with, then you're gonna just be stuck. So yeah, some people will be deficient in certain minerals, but yeah, it's really about knowledge. But when you start to look at meat and your digestive system, how long it takes for it to go through, and the fact that your teeth were not designed to tear flesh. Most people they think they're meat eaters, but they're not natural meat eaters. They're people that have converted to eating meat because it's been sold to you.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? If you're a true meat eater, you would eat meat raw. Yeah. Like you would just get an animal, tear it up and eat it like how a lion or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would do in the jungle. Most people who have to season it, cook it, and then eat it, they're doing that just so they can be able to eat it.
Yeah.
If you didn't have any salt, no peppers, no seasoning, you wouldn't normally eat blood meat. But there are some people, as I said, who can do that. So it's in their genetics.
Whereas vegetarians or vegans, you can just eat fruit straight away, no cooking, no nothing.
Even the word meat, going back to what we were saying about the programming and the words that you're using, if you read where the instructions from God is coming from in the Bible, that people are saying why they said they can eat meat, the word for meat, even though it's spelled M-E-A-T, was not relating to animals. It was relating to vegetation and herbs, because it literally says, I've given you all this vegetation and all these fruits and all of this for you to eat as meat or for meat.
Yeah.
So someone's taken that word, because someone had to tell you animals are now called meat, because they have names like lion, tiger, cow, whatever. They weren't called meat.
Yeah.
So someone is now telling you that word, when it says you should have this vegetation and fruits and everything for meat, they're now making it an animal. Yeah. So that's a big misconception. So like I was saying, then they have a business and a market so that they can produce and kill animals. And it's like, what did animals do to people for them to be eaten? And you look at, they pump all these things into the animal so they can fatten it up, so they can have an industry so that they can produce meat. But now, when you do the maths, it's like, if you think about how many restaurants there are on just one road and multiply that by your town and then by the country and then worldwide, there isn't enough population of animals, cows, chickens, whatever you want to look at, to be able to feed that amount of people. Like you mentioned McDonald's, right? They say they feed like billions of people a day.
Yeah.
There's not that much animals to be able to do that. So where's the meat coming from?
GMO and all that.
GMO, right. So now people are eating, going back to the movie we mentioned, The Matrix, someone is eating something thinking it's chicken.
But it's not.
But you have no idea, because you don't even know what chicken tastes like. Because if you go to in the movie The Matrix, the guy literally said that, like, why does everything taste like chicken? Because nobody actually knows what the taste of chicken is, because you can have meat that is minced up and colored, put it in a burger, put some pastry or whatever around it, and call it chicken.
Yeah.
So it's very unhealthy. You look at high blood pressure, you look at a lot of the obesity, you look at a lot of things that people have, even down to, what do they call it? Not amnesia, what's the other one? When people start to go senile.
Dementia.
That's the one, dementia. A lot of that is tied to eating red meat, scientifically has been shown. So when you put it all together in terms of you as a person, and did we used to eat meat, you had even, oh yeah, the point I was making about the protein was that the biggest mammals, like elephants, like, they're all vegetarians. So in terms of muscle and building muscle,
Gorillas
when people,
as well, yeah.
right, they say you want to have strength and muscle because you're not eating meat. But the biggest mammals on the planet don't eat meat, and they're the biggest and strongest. So there's so many things that is really just misinformation. But of course, we're not expecting people to just like drop habits that you've had for years.
And through generations.
And through generations. But it is a better option. Now, the vegetarian aspect, the mucus that is generated or produced from eating dairy products is also a problem, because it clogs you up. And that's, a lot of people use microwaves. They use, a lot of things that produce these ions, even the chemtrails and things that are sprayed in the air. There's so much pesticides and certain things that go into the produce and the actual animals. You get a lot of uric acid, for example, when you eat meat, which is not good for your joints. So a lot of people suffer from like arthritis. And again, this is stuff we're saying for you to do your own research.
Dr. Sebi, I know much about
The whole thing about being alkaline versus being acidic, this is all research and scientific, work that's been done with nutritionists that will tell you this. It's not even, like you were saying, a black and white thing. It's a healthy thing. And people have, over the years, have become more healthy to the point where even your McDonald's and, Burger Kings and places where would traditionally not sell anything healthy, it was just meat, they're now giving you plant-based options. They're giving you alternatives to meat. And over the years, more and more people have stopped eating red meat. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's everyone's choice. It's like we don't say you have to do this. It's down to you. Most of what we teach can be researched and fact checked. And if you decide you don't want to do it, it's up to you. Yeah. But definitely watch that Game Changers if you can.
About the vegan stuff and the health.
Yeah, because it goes through like all the athletes and certain people, like, and they do scientific experiments and everything to show you the performance and everything of people that, were meat eaters, and then they put them on a little vegan diet for a certain period of time, and then they see everything. Yeah, but go ahead.
So I'd say the number one reason why I disagree with the whole vegan thing is because me myself, I work out quite a lot.
Yeah.
And in my head, it's like I have to eat a steak to like grow a muscle. So it's like the protein thing, like you said, a lot of people say, like, where would I get my protein from? I know like nuts are quite high in protein. Do you eat?
And there's many things you can get protein from. Even like kale, like, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you can have like so many different nuts. There's like, even for example, rice and things like that. There's so much alternatives. Like, it's not like we're saying don't eat rice, but it's like most white stuff is processed. That's why it becomes white, because a lot of the nutrients and everything is taken out of it. So, say for example, brown rice will be better for you than white rice. But then you also have like black rice and wild rice and other rice that most people may not be familiar with. And why do I say that? Because when you look at the problems that most people have, it's a lot of it is too much intake of sugar and salt, and a lot of processed sugar and salt. So you can get natural sugar, like from honey, from fruits. So we're not saying don't, we're just saying look at what you're eating. Is it processed? Is it like, can you get the vitamins and minerals from something else? You've got like sea moss, right?
Yeah, that's really good for
which is
vitamins
really
and
good.
stuff.
Yeah, so it's really knowing what you can replace things with. But yeah, I think like it's a misnomer. A lot of people say things because it's like Chinese whispers, it gets passed down and people use that, like I said. But if you say to someone, you're saying you're getting your protein from the meat. But like I said, like have you actually studied how that protein gets into the meat?
Yeah.
And it's normally because the animals eat the vegetation to get the protein.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like things like that will not hold up when you look at it scientifically. And sometimes it's just misinformation. And on that, I won't spoil it. I want everyone to watch it. Watch it for yourself. But then look at another side of it, right? There's also the cruelty to animals.
Yeah.
Like there are documentaries that show you how meat and animals are, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I've seen one video where
yeah,
they got pigs coming down a line or something, just like goes into the
yeah, it's very.
like
they do a
automated.
lot of horrible things, and even like, even when you say halal meat, like the Muslims do, and they say that that's because the animal has been unalived in a particular way.
Yeah.
But again, it's like today you can just get a sticker or just put the halal sign on your shop, and then how do you, the consumer, know for sure that it is halal? But not even that, going back to the cruelty of animals, it's like, why do they need to be put through that pain and trauma and sufferings? And people don't realize that when you're consuming that,
you take that energy with
you're
you.
taking that energy with you as well, and it
It's
affects
actually,
you.
that's what, like, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's right, that's correct.
You know how you have Wagyu
Yeah.
beef? That's when the animal's treated more correctly, and they say that the stress of the animal makes the meat less or worse quality.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in terms of the example with the halal as well, because that's what they're trying to say. But yeah, with the cruelty of animals is also another problem. Like, we're not really supposed to be eating. We weren't originally, like even the dinosaurs, you know, you had the herbivores and then you had, do you know what I mean, the ones that were meat eaters. So going back to the thing about protein again, they were massive, big creatures. So, but the thing about diet is, even the word diet, you see the word die right there, right? Because it's all based on industry. It's like cow's milk, right? Cow's milk is for a cow. So how did humans start drinking milk that was meant for a cow?
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because when you're a baby, the mother's milk is the milk you drink, your mother's milk, right?
Yeah.
But the industry, profit driven, it's like if you had humans' milk on the shelf of the supermarkets and you had cow's milk, humans will be, I'm not buying Susan or Mary's milk, I'm gonna buy the cow's milk instead. But the human milk is more in line with your genetics than the cow's milk. So someone had to think of a way of, I'm going to make money from selling cow's milk, so I have to figure out how to make cow's milk appealing and edible to humans. And they had to go through a process to produce it, to make it safe. And these are the things that people don't really kind of like take time to analyze and look at and say, you know, why are you drinking milk that's not really for you? And this starts from the nurseries again, when you're a baby, you know, the breast milk. Some women don't want to breast feed, so they'll have the milk from the store,
which is bad.
And then it starts right from there all the way. And then you look at the homogenized milk, you hear the word hormones in there, and that's like, it affects your hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And the thing is as well, I like to look at things for what their obvious purpose is. Like that cow's milk that you mentioned, the cows have udders for their calves to drink from, not for us.
Exactly.
So why are we drinking? That's for them, it's not for us.
Exactly. That's the point, yeah.
Not the cow's there to, for example, to eat the grass and keep the plant tidy.
Yeah.
and then we're killing them and eating them.
And then what happens, as you say, that's that cycle where we're destroying the planet, and the ecosystem is just messed up because the ecology gets thrown off, because now, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have like the bees anymore. You don't have, you know, the things that keep everything flowing. We kind of affect it, and the waters and the land and the forest and cutting down the trees and the animals, and it just goes on, and like the chain reaction of life gets messed up, and then we suffer, and then we wonder what is making us ill or making us sick. Yeah. But like you say, it's not even I know you say debate or you disagree. You're allowed to disagree. Like, yeah. If that's the thing with Wu-Sabat. Wu-Sabat is, it provides you with the best information, and then you make the decision on what to do with it. And if you disagree, you disagree. But compared to anything else, you will see that it actually makes more sense than anything else. So everyone has a choice of what they decide to do.
That's one of the reasons I like Wu-Sabat, is like, that's one of the reasons why I am more like open-minded to it, even as crazy it might sound to some people. Yeah. Because you'll say, ask us anything. There's no other like people that I know, religions or anything, that will say you can come and ask us any question. And we'll answer to, like, with facts, with proof. And that goes back to what you were saying about, they were saying like, what's the term you use? You're reading into it too much, or you look, and it's like, if you don't have anything to hide, why can't we ask you anything? Yeah. Because you find that even in my journey, like coming from a Christian background and everything, and like having questions, and like, what was really scary is when you get to a point where you're asking questions and they say you're blaspheming, or you know what I mean? They start to turn it on you and say, you know, you shouldn't do that. But I'm like, why not? Why can't we ask questions? Because the reality is, you're going to uncover and pull to pieces what they're saying. Like, it's not making sense. Like, you're telling me something like, for example, God knows everything, and God created everything, and God is loving and caring, and he can do anything. But then when I start looking around and seeing the problems in the world, and I'm like, why is God not doing anything about this if he can? Because you told me he can, he knows everything, he can do everything. And then when you ask a question that is just a very simple question, like, who is responsible for the chaos and the evil and the wicked things on the planet? That's such a simple question, but what you will hear from religious people, they will say that it's the devil. Yeah. And then you will ask, well, who gives the devil the power to be able to do that? No, God does.
They say God does. But then you're like, why doesn't God take away that power from him?
Just do that and then he'd be gone. But
do you see what I mean? And that to me is it will solve everything. Just get rid of the devil, get rid of all the wicked things on the planet, and we can all live happily ever after. But they tell you he can do everything. But then when you say he can't do that, because does he enjoy it? They will say no. They will say he's doing it as a test for us or for him. I'm like, but he doesn't need to test us because he already knows everything. Yeah. So what's the purpose of the test? The purpose of the test is to get an outcome. But if you already know the outcome,
you don't need to do the test.
You don't need to do the test. And these are the simple things where when you say to them, why doesn't he do it? They will say he knows best, or you can't question God because he's just doing it for his. They start to try and explain it, and like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why does he create a place to torture and burn people called hell? If he can change their mind and make them good, why still let them do it all to just put them in a place? So these are the types of questions that, if you start to put everyone on the spot, say, like, let us ask you some questions, because you're telling us something and you want us to just believe it and just accept it, but it's not computing, it's not making sense. A computer will malfunction if you give it wrong instructions. That's what's happening with us. We've been given instructions that don't compute. And then when you say, can he hear me? Can God hear me? They'll say, yeah. And you say, how? They say, when you pray to him. So I can just pray to him and say, So if the whole world gets together and prays and says, can we get rid of the devil, get rid of evil, get rid of wickedness, get rid of all the problems on the planet, if he's hearing you say this and he doesn't do anything about it, then something's wrong, you see. And these are the types of questions that religious people don't want you to be able to put them on the spot and ask them the questions. The scientists, on the other hand, they're a little bit better, because at least they will be like, we don't know, we're going to do some research and do some experiments and try and find out. And then when they discover something, they will say, okay, look, we've discovered this. And they go through a whole thing where the scientific community, their peers, are going to ask them questions to say, what you said, is it true? Like, you can say, we can fly an aeroplane from here to there and travel much quicker than with a car. Someone will go, is it possible? Yeah, let's design an aeroplane or an aircraft and then test it. And then if it stays in the air and actually does and works, you can say, yeah, scientifically we've proven it works.
Yep.
And that's how today we can now jump on a plane and go to another country and whatever. But if you just said to people, you all get on this thing and there's no information, no testing, no one's going to go on it, because they're going to know it's going to drop out of the sky, right? So, yeah, it's just like the scientific mind is actually a better step into knowing things than to believe something. Yeah.
There's a quote I heard in regards to God as well. I'm not sure whether it was you that said it or somebody else.
Yeah.
But it was like, if God is all-knowing, he cannot be all-powerful. If God is all-powerful, he cannot be all-good, or something like that, because of the things that are happening. Yeah. If he knows what's happening and then refuses to do anything about it, then he can't be good.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying about making
or he can't be all-powerful.
Evil fair seeming. Like, you can't be everywhere and somewhere at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be less than yourself. If you're all-powerful, the minute you become less than yourself, you're not all-powerful anymore, because you've now separated. And this is the problem in religion, when they say like Jesus is God. Some denominations, they say Jesus is God. And then you say, but you know, there are different types of God. There's the Almighty God. There's the one that is going to be bigger than Jesus, because they will say he was sent. Jesus was sent down here, or his father gave his only begotten son, which was not originally in the word begotten wasn't in the original scriptures, but they say the ultimate sacrifice was to send his son to come and die for our sins. And then some Christians will say Jesus is God. But when you look at the last prayer, the Lord's Prayer, when he was leaving, he said, pray in this manner. He was like, our Father who's in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, right? Yep. So he separated himself from the Father. But yet people will still say that he is God. But then they're like, well, who was he praying to when he was afraid that he was going to get crucified then? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, who is he sitting next to? Because they tell you he went back to heaven to sit on the right-hand side of his Father. So he can't be his Father and be himself at the same time.
Exactly.
This is all confusion. So they don't realize that you're God, we're God, but the God that you are is separate from what they're trying to say is the Almighty, which is really dealing with what we know as Pa'ut, or the all, or nature, which is inside of, or part of, shall I say, the etheric world, which everyone belongs to, you see. So we can all be a part of the all. And that's completely different to the concept of a God that is a person walking, talking, doing normal things like everybody else. Yep. You see, so that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, because people have been given misinformation, because a lot of people don't even read the earliest versions. Not even I was going to say the original. There are no originals today. No. So you're just reading versions of versions of versions of versions. Yep. So the version you're reading, like most people go, I read the King James version. Yep. But there are other versions you've never read that have different.
And they're very different as
well.
Very
different, yeah. Book of Enoch. There's so many other books that are not even in the compilation of the King James version. Yep. So it's all about knowledge and knowing. And if you're told that you shouldn't ask questions, how do you learn anything?
Exactly.
Yeah, anything you want to learn, you've got to study, ask questions, research, and go and actually do an in-depth study of that thing so you can become, a master or more, fluent in whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the issue with every religion that I know of,
Yeah.
they all have their books. But if God is all knowing, say if I was a God, in my opinion, just being rational,
Yeah.
books can be changed. So like, why not like set up, I don't know, like a stone that cannot be like changed, cannot be destroyed with all of your words. So then everybody knows that is the Bible, rather than give a book that man can manipulate.
But that's where today, going back to you asking about technology, the blockchain, that's what a blockchain is, in the sense where once you put something on the blockchain, on a blockchain, it's immutable, meaning you can't then change it or like. So this is where we are going, and but again, it's like the internet now, where you've got different people putting information on there. But with the blockchain, that's what makes it a lot more like solid, because once you put something onto it, you can't really change it, so you can't make things up. So for example, if, let's say, the police or any law enforcement was to have a good blockchain where, like, for example, when they are taking evidence or something is happening and they were, like now they make notes, but when it gets to court, a lot of the times they can fabricate or change the notes and make up stuff that didn't actually happen. But if it was on a blockchain and those notes were available to everyone, then it would be harder for them to be able to do that. And this is where smart contracts with Ethereum and some, I might be talking technologies that you're not really familiar with, but that's where it's really going. But even better still, like you said, they all claim to follow one person, as in the monotheistic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, but they all follow, say, Abraham, who they say is chosen by God, but yet they all have different versions and like different denominations. How can you all follow one thing but don't agree with each other and, fight and have wars against each other over land, territory, and, just religious arguments about things they don't know or can't even prove, because, religion only goes back to like 6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas we've been on the planet for millions of years, and there've been lots of civilizations on the planet stemming all the way back to ancient Egypt. And there are records and things that were written back then, things that were doing back then that people only trying to figure out now, like the pyramids, how they were built, who built them and what were they for, etc., etc. So we know that Wu-Sabat literally goes back to, well, we said the beginning, but we go back to the creation of the universe. And if you have the same knowledge, we will all agree. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people disagree on things they don't know about, but the things that unite people, if everybody just stuck to those, like, we can agree we're breathing air, right? It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, green, yellow, or Muslim, Jew, Christian. There's no arguments. Yeah. You see, that's the kind of thing that Wu-Sabat deals with. It's like, let's come together on the things that unite us, not the things that divide us.
That's true, because if everyone knew the actual fact of everything, there would be no disagreement.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas because no one actually knows what's happening, we have disagreements.
Yeah, it's based on opinions. I think this, everyone thinks different way, and then they fight and argue about it. Whereas with Wu-Sabat, it's like, that's the facts, actual fact. Take it or leave it, but it won't change. The truth won't change. Like, truth is truth. And the people that don't want to know the truth or hear the truth are the people that want to push and promote the lies. So it kind of becomes very obvious when the ones that are coming together and uniting on something that works are gonna, unless they are too gone in terms of their programming to the point where, they just want to bury their head in sand and not accept the truth and just not think for themselves, then that's different. But anyone who is able to stand and deal with the truth, regardless of what it is, and that's for everyone, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can deal with the truth, then that's it. And it actually makes you better, because you learn more. It's like, if you discover something makes your life better, why would you not, you know what I mean, apply it? But
exactly.
yeah. Did you get through your questions?
I've got a few more, but
Okay, yeah. Let's try and get through them more.
okay. One thing I just wanted to mention quickly as well was how you mentioned about how young religion is compared to how old the universe is.
Yeah.
I'll say that's the number one thing that destroys all religion, which is if you were to ask them, so for example, Christianity, 2,000 is it 2,000 years old?
Yeah.
And we've got proof of, like, I remember you said RD was one of the ones they found as like 5-7 million, something
That's
like
right.
that. So what happened before?
Yeah.
Why hasn't God explained what happened before? And I guarantee no one will be able to answer.
Yeah, but this is where it goes to the scientists. That's what I was saying to you, because like the religious world will say something, then you go, but like we found evidence of things that predate all of that.
Yeah.
And so what do we do with that? Because you're trying to tell me everything started from here, but we're finding things that go beyond where you're saying everything started from. And that's how you uncover things where you get to a point where we weren't even here yet. Do you know what I mean? Like you had other animals, mammals, and nature, and like the planet itself. This is not the only planet in the whole of the, do you know what I mean? Our solar system. So yeah, those questions really open your mind up to actually, now the scientists are going, oh, let's go to the beginning of the universe, because it's so vast, like, you know what I mean? Like,
and all expanding, like,
and all expanding, and it's constantly getting bigger. So yeah, to try and learn how it started, you have to go to when it was at its tiniest before it was expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. I haven't got too many questions.
That's
We've gone through most of them.
Okay.
But I'll just go through a few here. Like, one thing I wanted to know was, I said to OSM before that I find myself, I watch your videos quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'll kind of forget about it for a bit, but I'm always drawn back to it.
Yeah.
And I started laughing the one time because I had some questions and things I was trying to figure out, and I come back and literally the videos were literally exactly what I wanted to know. Like, for example, meditation, which I started to do on a consistent basis recently.
Yeah.
How do I do that properly? Because I know you said that you can't just like sit down and do it. It has to be done in a specific way.
Yeah. What I said, I think, was it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because people think, some people will go, that's like we were saying before, that's a load of rubbish. Like just sitting down, crossing my legs, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's not, you have to be in that mindset as well, like with anything else, for it to work for you. And you have to think, what are you trying to achieve? What are you really trying to do? One of the obvious one is you're trying to cut away from the distractions. Yeah, because if you're constantly distracted, you're not able to kind of like focus and just like really think for yourself or reason. So first thing is the environment you're in should be conducive to you being able to just be able to be at peace, be at, calm, and it's to try and silence the chatter, the distractions of worries of life, because what you are is an electromagnetic semiconductor. You don't normally describe people like that, but when you start to break people and things down in a scientific way, you have to see what you're composed of and how does that connect and tie into everything else. And you are literally a being that is existing on different density levels. So this is why we say, even though you are here physically, you are composed of other components that you can't see. Yeah. And you're made up of voluntary and involuntary actions, things that are happening, like your heart is beating right now, but you're not actually physically watching it or controlling it. You blink at certain times and you're not like in control of that. You have blood running through, when you start to break you down in terms of the various components you're made of, you realize that something is keeping you alive right now, because at some point, that's one thing that everybody agrees with, at some point you're gonna die, right? Or this physical you is not going to be here anymore. They might burn it, put it in the ground, bury it or whatever. But then you have to then ask, well, what was keeping me alive? Even if you just look at it from a scientific view of, you're breathing oxygen and you're giving off carbon dioxide, something is keeping you alive, yeah? So when you're meditating, what you're really trying to do is get in tune with yourself, with your inner being. As you said, you've got a conscious part, you've got a subconscious mind, you've got a superconscious mind. As you look into you as a being, you realize you're made up of so many different systems. So the ability to be able to like stop and analyze, even your mind, what you're calling your mind is not, it's not physical, right? So you have to now think, well, what is that? That's why I said you have the subconscious, you have the conscious, you have the superconscious, and you got the awareness. So when you stop and just go into yourself and become aware of everything around you, you start to realize like you're dealing with you as a quantum being and as an electromagnetic semiconductor, meaning that waves and energy and things you're pulling and it's coming from outside within you and inside of yourself. So yeah, it takes time to start to deal with that level of consciousness, and by slowing down the mind, blocking out the distractions, which you do at regular intervals. Like if you're going to do anything, you have to practice it, yeah? So like if you want to play the piano or a musical instrument, you do have to make time to do some practice, whether it's the scales every day of 5 or 10 minutes, half an hour. And those who want to really take it seriously, they'll put in more time. Even if you want to be a boxer, footballer, or whatever, you have to go training, you have to train. So it's the same with meditating. You have to realize it's not going to be overnight. You've got to be consistent with it. You've got to set a time aside. Generally when the world is more quiet, so that would be early in the morning or late at night, or do you know what I mean? When it's quiet, so you can sit with yourself. There's less distractions, because in the day you're hearing like the cars going by, you're hearing the construction work, you're hearing everyone's doing something. But at night it's a lot more, or during the shadow hours as we say, it's quiet. So you sit down, you tune into yourself, and you start off learning how to concentrate. And even like the way you sit, many will say to sit in a lotus position, but if your body is not used to that,
it's
like,
uncomfortable.
It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to distract you. So you're worrying about that pain in my leg rather than actually focusing on the meditation. So yeah, you've got to make sure that the environment's clean. There are spirit beings as well. When I say spirit beings, because we keep saying there's the unseen world and there's the seen world, and you have a lot of electromagnetic energy around you all the time.
Which can distract you as well.
Which can distract you as well. And so, yeah, by kind of like making the intentions as well, like the intentions count for a lot. Like you literally say to yourself, you know, I wanna make intentions to go into a space and be silent and be in tune with myself. You may burn some sage or palo santo or incense or whatever that will help clear the environment. And some of them obviously do different things. Like you can ask those beings that are around you to leave, because, you know, just it's like requesting, do you mind giving me a moment? I want to.
So you can chill out.
I can chill out, do what I want to do. So once you have the environment right, then yeah, you can start with concentration, which is like maybe focusing on an object or a point. Usually people use a candle, so that they can focus on the flame. And I mean, we go into it in a lot of our books, but just for the listening audience, then you start to try not to think of anything.
Keep it clear.
Yeah. That's even hard in itself, because as you sit down, sometimes you're going to start thinking of the things you need to do, because your mind, until you start to cooperate with it to the point where you're working with it, it's not like you're trying to control it, because it's very powerful. It's elusive. It will think of ways to stop you from trying to control it.
Yeah.
So it's more of a dialogue, a cooperation with the mind to say you're working together, because what you're starting to realize is like there's the physical you, there's the other parts of you, and there's your mind, and they all have to work in harmony together, or else you'll start to think about, oh, I'll go here tomorrow, I'll go do this, or the bills, or your woman, or your whatever, your children, and then you just sit there and realize, when I say try not to think, it's very hard because every time, let's say you're focusing on that candle, you get a thought and you have to catch it. Your awareness, or the mind that is aware, will be able to. It's almost like you're separating the physical you and looking at yourself, like how when people have a out of body experience, astral projection, and you're kind of like looking at yourself, but detaching from everything, so you can connect to the higher vibrations of consciousness. Yeah, and as you do that, like I said, regularly over time, you're going to get to a point where you can literally be there, but you're not there. You kind of like, your vessel is there, but the higher conscious you is able to transcend or go to other dimensions or realms and experience different things. But it does help because you slow down your heart rate. You slow down, just like, yeah, just be in the moment, be still, and eventually you can just be completely relaxed. And yeah, it just makes you feel better. You start to view everything and the world around you completely differently. And the energy that you're using for doing other things during that time, you're able to pull it and utilize it to take it to the mind, as opposed to, like, do you know what I mean? Always the body's, it's the heartbeat's going, you're thinking constantly, you might be digesting a lot of food at the same time. So all these things happen to keep you distracted in tuning into yourself. So that's how, there are different levels, and as you get better, you may be able to do it for longer. So initially you might just sit down for 10, 20, 15 minutes a day. And the reason you do it in the morning is because it sets you up to focus and think of what you want to achieve for the day. And then in the evening you come and then you do the same thing to kind of like purge out, unplug from the matrix that you've been in during the day, or the energies and things you've picked up. So you kind of like also like, yeah, detach from those.
So you recommend like twice a day, once in the morning, once at night?
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that you can meditate without closing your eyes. You said you can actually just...
No, I mean, eventually you will close your eyes, but I'm saying, like, if you're learning to focus, and you can, like, there's different types of meditations as well. Because you could actually do it with your eyes open as well. You could be like, you could be amongst people, and like, because you're going inside, you can still do it that way. But the one where eventually you can close your eyes, we have a recording on OSM Vision by the master teacher called Visualization.
Egyptian one, I think I've used that.
Yeah, that one. If you sit down and follow the it literally gives you the instructions of what to do. But yeah, you then over time you start to see the benefits, because you start to pull a lot more energy. So when you're around people, around chaos, around situations, you're more able to deal with life, because you're going to be a bit like more calm and you're thinking more logically. You're not over emotional with situations, and you're able to then make decisions based on critical and logical thinking. And then, yeah, your life, even just the way you deal with people, because you then actually get to a point where you realize that a lot of things don't really matter to the extent that people make it. Like the things that are, like, the best things in life are free, you know, as I think as Luther Vandross sang that song. Yeah, you start to see the world differently. You start to see different, I mean, you could even get to the point where you're able to, as I said, travel, see interdimensionally. You start to use your higher powers, which is like your intuition, your clairvoyance, telepathy, psychometry, all of these heightened, because you're now actually using them, where before they're there, but you don't exercise them, or you're not using them because you might not think they're real or they don't work or whatever. But
are you able to do any of those things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Telepathy and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Do you do that with, like, does that work from people who can't do it to who can, or does it have to be someone that...
Again, with things like telepathy and getting your higher senses to work, what you realize is that we all have the ability, but if you are not aware of it, or we're not able to do it consistently. Like we may do it randomly. Like for example, you might want to speak to one of your friends or whatever, and you think of them, and then they call you, and you're like, I was just thinking about you.
Yeah.
You won't look at it like I just made a phone call telepathically to that person, and they picked up that vibration or that frequency.
Yeah. Because
when you look at it, your universe is everything in your world, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can literally communicate and connect with anybody and anything in your universe, because without you, none of that stuff would exist. So, yeah, you can, when you practice and learn, you'll see like the people you're around, they will know, like I do it all the time. Like I will think of someone that they'll just walk through the door, or they'll call me or something. And I'm always saying to people, I was just thinking about you. But when you say, it's not at random, but the more you practice it, the more you start to do it at random.
Yeah,
but
and control it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Because if you think about telepathy, it's like me and you speaking mind to mind. But if you don't know how to control it, let's say you open that communication channel, if there were 100 people in the room, you might be able to pick up their noise, their minds. So there's a level of control that we have to be taught, to the point where even though there may be 100 people in the room, you can tune and talk to one person without getting all that other noise. So these are the things that we've been taught. But yeah, a lot of the other things as well, but we can't get it fully because we'll have to get something called the barothry gland replaced.
That was removed.
That was removed. But the nerve endings were left, so we still have the ability to do it.
But just
some people might have more of one than the other through their genetics. Like some people can just be healers because their genetic has been passed down to them. And some people have gifts. And that's not to be confused and distorted with entities that can help you do things because you're calling on them. So some of them might be like disagreeable, but they will give you the power to say, for example, when you look at religious groups where people might say they got healed, or this one did that and healed them, but not realizing that those entities can channel through them.
Yep.
So it's always a thing where you have to look at both sides, like, is it being done from a positive, agreeable agenda, or a disagreeable or negative one? But the thing about getting to know yourself is that you tune into who you really are, and then eventually you will be able to eradicate all the disagreeable or the noise that is affecting your life in a way that you don't want it to be affected. So this is where it gets into silencing the voices that you hear in your head, because you are, like I said, a radio, a transmitter and a receiver from different cosmoses, even different planets, different realms, different people. So you have to learn to get to a point where the voice that you're hearing is your own, or the agreeable ones from your ancestors, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wait,
yeah.
so you know when you said that you can actually do telepathy, what does that experience feel like? Like, is it like a thought in your head when you're like doing it with someone, or is it loud, or what is it like?
I think for different people at different stages, it's going to be different. But it's such a great question, because when you get to a certain point where you just do it becomes a part of you. So you're just doing it, and it's as natural as you just breathing and talking.
Yeah.
And for those who, because I know other people that are able to do some of the things that we're talking about as well. And when you are at a certain level that other people are at, even though you don't need them to verify it, they do confirm it, because you're both able to do the exact same things. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so for me, I've got to a stage where, and sometimes you have to be quite careful what you say in terms of, some people target people that have certain gifts or whatever. But
Yeah.
You get to a place where it's autopilot. That's how I look at it. Like you just do
Naturally,
things
just happens.
naturally. Yeah. Like you can walk into a room and change the vibration and change the frequency of whatever was going on in that room. And some people are able to feel the energy or detect you or like, but yeah, a lot of the times if you want something, this is where really manifestation comes in, because when we're saying you start off with the basics like relaxation, like concentration, like being silent, then like you say, closing your eyes, then trying to travel to different places, different realms, astral projecting and doing certain things where you are working at it. Wow, sorry, I think we've run out of time. But when we are when you're doing things intentionally, then you can bring about an outcome because you've just literally thought about it.
Yeah.
So you just do it naturally, and then your life is smooth in the terms of you don't feel agitated, you don't feel anxious, you don't feel over emotional, you don't really, no matter what is thrown at you, whatever situation or condition you find yourself, you're able to kind of just be one with it. It's like when we're having a conversation right now, you're literally, you live in the moment. That's, I think, the word I was trying to get to.
Be present.
You just, you're present constantly, and you're so aware of everything else that's going on that nothing else really matters but that moment you're in. So if you're having a conversation with someone, you're engaged in it.
And not thinking of anything else.
You're not thinking about anything else. If you're eating a meal, you're so aware of the meal and looking at the nutritional value of it and appreciating it. Appreciate love, you know, I like to say that instead. You're giving gratitude. You're like one with nature. You're one with, and everyone else who's on that vibration, you will be connected with them too. So that's why we know that we can change the outcome of the world. We can change the conditions of the world. This is what we're doing when we're saying like we come together and agree on the things that really matter. So
and get rid of all the stuff.
And get rid of the other stuff that's making us, you know, divided. Yeah. Okay.
How much time have we got?
Now go on. I was finished.
You sure?
Yeah. You said you only had a few.
Let me get the more important ones. We've already talked about AI.
Okay.
Astral projection you mentioned. The number one thing, I've already seen you make a video on it, but I wanted to hear more in depth, which is about purpose. I've been going through, it might seem silly to some people, but I've started to do semen retention for the past probably 2 months now. And I've noticed like crazy things, like I would never have done this before, I'd never have come here before, but I was like drawn to doing it. And I've started doing things that I would never usually do, like being more productive with my time, meditating, all these things that I would never do before. Even something as silly as might sound like I keep my areas clean, like clean my room way more, I'm more disciplined. But the only issue with it is like my mind is fluctuating quite a lot in terms of like I'm struggling to find purpose in what I actually want to do with my life, if you know what I mean. That's one of my thoughts are.
That will come with clarity. But I think it's a great thing with the semen retention. But with Wu-Sabat, again, as we say all the time, it's about balance as well, If you want to achieve things in life, even women will tell you this. Well, not every woman, but not women, but just people who have elevated and have gone through anything you're doing or want to do. You will find that if somebody has already walked that walk or that path, they will know the benefits they've got from it. Like, for example, we're talking about meditation, and someone might think, oh, that's a load of crap. But people who have meditated, who have been able to stick it out to the point where they know and get the benefits from it, will tell you, keep at it. It's the same with the semen retention. What you're doing, like I said, is energy. It's like, if you're not with a partner or someone in a meaningful relationship, I mean, you can give it what labels you want, like girlfriend, wife, spouse, whatever, then you're literally like, it's like bleeding out. Do you know what I mean? It's like, imagine you got a tank full of petrol but there's a little hole and the petrol's leaking out as you're driving.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose that energy, and like you say, once you stop, you repurpose that energy into like your mind, or into like helping you to maybe raise your consciousness. And so when you're saying you're meditating, this is good because it's gonna give you that focus to ask your higher self.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things you're doing as well, connecting with your higher self, to be in tune with it, and also your ancestors, and and just asking the universe. People say that, but remember, the universe is you, because I said before that uni means one, and then verse is like the cycle, because you're doing it over and over and over again, and as you get more, you get better at doing it over and over again. That's why the universe starts with a small dot and then it spirals outwards, but everything is a cycle. So you will get the answers. Like, you have to look at, what are you good at, what's your passion, what would you like to do, and just keep asking the questions. And you do have a purpose, and that purpose is to discover your potential. Sometimes you may have to try out different things to see what you have a passion for, because you might try something
And not like it.
and not like it. You might try something else and you really like it. But this is why it's good to have, good experience. Try different things out, and then look at, there's some things you would do that will just come to you naturally, that you just effortlessly. And there are other things you have to work at. But eventually you will come to that. The main purpose for you, for us, for people that are here in this three-dimensional world, is to
leave, basically.
Yeah, is to leave. But to leave, how do you leave? You got to leave in a particular way and have the knowledge, but it's to master the world around you, to master this physical level, which is the lowest realm at the moment, the material plane, the 3D. So by doing the meditation, the relaxation, the kind of like mindfulness, we speak about this in our books, and you're learning to conquer and master this physical plane, so that when you move to the next one, it's like you're ready to go. If you're stuck here, like, everything is heavy down here, it's more dense. It's like the distractions, the things you do that keep you kind of bound to the earth.
Focus on objects, material
Things, exactly. So you're doing the right thing. Only you will know by the results that you get.
Yeah.
And this is what's beautiful about when people don't focus on the basic kind of like low vibrational stuff, like fear, anger, jealousy, divisions, color of people's skins, and racism, and all those are low vibrational stuff that holds you and keeps you down. And when you transcend that, you just automatically raise your consciousness and you become that example. So it doesn't matter, like you were saying, people laughing at you or thinking, whatever they're thinking, because when you get the benefits, you're the one that's going to be well, that's not a competition, but you're going to be the one laughing, and it's not really about anyone else but about you. And where your journey is going and your purpose. So don't worry. That's another thing as well. It's like that thing about caring about what people think, or what like they think about you, and
traps your mind.
It traps your mind, because it's like everyone's here for them to do what they're here to do. And I'm not saying, like I said, it's important to be mindful and to be aware of people around you, treat other people the way you would like to be treated and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, you can't be a doormat for anyone either. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to, you know what I mean? Just because you're peaceful doesn't mean that you won't defend yourself if somebody attacks you. You know what I mean? So Wu-Sabat is very practical, and it's really about you and your journey, being completely aware that you have the ability to do anything that you set your mind to.
Yeah.
But Wu-Sabat just helps you like fast track that, because it cuts out all the noise and all the crap and gets straight to the, do you know what I mean, the real nuggets of what you need to be able to make that journey.
Yeah. Well, the issue I've run into at the minute, which is like my main problem, is I lack mental clarity. Like I don't feel as switched on as I feel like I should be. I have a lot of brain fog, and it confuses me because when I did semen retention when I was much younger, I've been doing it on and off since I was probably 14, 15.
Yeah.
When I did it when I was younger, when I hit around a month, I was way more switched on. I felt way more intelligent. But this time round, I still feel clouded. It's really weird, to be honest, because I don't understand why it's happening. I think it could be down to food more than
That's what I'm
anything.
saying. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of all the things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. You might be doing one practice really well, but then lacking in the others. Do you know what I mean? Like, someone could be meditating, but then, like you said, if you're eating, do you know what I mean, bad diet,
sugar,
or you're not, and you're not exercising and whatever. It's a holistic approach to life and your being. So, and don't be in a haste either. Just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not going to happen a bit down the line.
Be patient.
That's why consistency and patience is also, they tell you that, you know what I mean, patience is one of those hard lessons that you go through in learning. You know what I mean? But yeah, be patient. And by the time you change some other aspects, it may just clear that fog. The eureka moments will come more when you're digging deep and in that kind of meditate. You said you've only started meditating.
Recently, probably like a week or so.
Give it some
but not
time.
properly, to be fair. What you said will help, which is I try to do it. That's one thing I wanted to ask as well. Is it a good idea to put my headphones on and put on? I like the sounds of like rain and thunder and stuff like that. I think that's quite relaxing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea with meditation, or is it better to do it in silence?
It is a good idea. Ultimately, silence will be better. But people start off like being in, like, that's what I was saying about the environment. So some people will go to like maybe the stream or something, somewhere that nature. Yeah. Some people put the sounds like birds and, you know what I mean, rain and stuff like that. But whatever you need to get you past that initial stage to the point where you can do it in total silence will be better. But like I said, it's different for different people, and you just have to be consistent. Start somewhere. It's better to start and do something than to do nothing at all. So I mean, so if you find, like as I said, some people may need to have a cushion to sit on. Some people, you might not have the health to be able to sit in a particular position. So it doesn't mean that you can't meditate lying down, for example. Do you know what I mean? If there's a health reason, but you have to also know the science behind why you'd sit in a certain position, because the way the energy will flow and how you release and retain certain frequencies and vibrations. So it's going to be different strokes for different folks. But the master teacher does give you, do you know what I mean, the guidelines, and the more you do it, and it's not just one aspect, like we're constantly learning, we're constantly like having to improve ourselves, whether it's through the, like, I don't know if you did say you training, do exercising.
Yeah, quite a lot, to be fair.
But we've got like the breathing techniques. We've got the breath book, it's the diet, it's the mindfulness, it's how you think. It's a lot of different things, but I think once you have the right intentions, you just got to put that into practice and then continue to make it consistent. But you will get the answers. One of the things is to just be patient. Patience in itself is, they say, it's a virtue, because sometimes you learn something. I'm still learning now, like, or things become more clear as you go along. So even like 10 years down the line, you will learn something new to something that you maybe started learning 10 years ago. Like little nuggets that keep kind of
1%.
Being revealed to you. And it's also, you have to be worthy to receive more. So it's like, the more, they say, the more power you have, the more responsibility you have. You see? So these higher entities and beings that are on those different realms, they're watching you and monitoring you to see,
like a test,
like you're sincere. And the more you show, like, it's like I always use this example, like any superhero, whether it's Superman or whatever, if they abuse their power, then they wouldn't get it. So I mean, so it's like, even though you have that power, it's the ability to still be able to be humble and be responsible with it to the point where these beings are on a higher vibration, higher intelligence, they will give you more.
Yeah.
And watch what you do with it, and then they will give you more. And you see that throughout your life, you're going to start to see how your purpose gets shaped. And then you're going to look back, and Steve Jobs said this as well. He said you can only connect the dots looking backwards, because you do things and then later on you'll be like, oh, I was being prepared to do what I'm doing now, when you look back from where you've come from.
Yeah.
So the journey is always ongoing.
It's actually really funny you mentioned that, because I've asked these questions to myself, and it might sound silly, but like sometimes the answers just come to my head, like I don't know where they come from, but like exactly what you mentioned about, I'm saying to myself like, why can't I figure this out? I'll just have patience. I just randomly think to myself, and then I'll think like, maybe I'm being tested. Why do I feel this way? Maybe it's a test to see if I can deal with it, so then I can actually have the power that I want. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and you just have to keep at it. Well, yeah, is that it?
Can I do one more?
Yep, the last one.
I'll try for one good one. That's a good one I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, which is, you know, the extraterrestrials that are in charge, obviously they don't want everyone to know the information that you're spreading. So like, why are they allowing you to spread the information? Or are you just being very careful with what you say? Or like, how does that work? How do you manage it?
But the first thing you have to know is, who are the extraterrestrials that are in charge?
Yeah.
And what do we mean by in charge, right? So this is where we know there are extraterrestrials on the planet who are behind the scenes pulling the strings, and certain governments and, you know, the people that we think are in control, they answer to them, right? There's so many movies that show you this. Trying to think of Colony, right? There's a series on Netflix.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, that you got other movies as well, but the extraterrestrials that are you got people that are in control of, let's say, the country you're living in. You've got people that are in control of, like for example, you have different countries have different jurisdictions. They have their prime ministers or like presidents or whatever, but they all meet, let's say in the United Nations, who try to be in control of the whole planet. But then you have, so my point is, you've got people that are in control of where you live, like the government. You've got people that are in control of the planet. You've got people that are in control of like the galaxy. You've got people that are in control of the universe.
And it just goes along.
And it goes up and high. And even when you get to those, like for example, the galaxies, different galaxies, you have the equivalent of what I just mentioned, like the United Nations. But these are called the Galactic Federation. When you're dealing with the galaxies, different representatives from different galaxies come together in a a council. So my point is, as you go up, the highest beings or extraterrestrials that are really in control are actually our ancestors.
Yeah.
So although you have like on the planet different species of extraterrestrials, hybrids, etc., like the reptilians, the draconians, the greys that most people see, so many different species and hybrids of the greys, the Pleiadians I've mentioned, the Anunnaki. Our ancestors, who we know as the Natharu, they're the ones that are really in control of
everything,
at the highest at everything. So us, by way of the master teacher, Partner Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Ziyok, who is a part of those beings, he's one of the people in that council, he's come here, or chosen by the forces of nature to come here at this particular time to renew the information on the planet, to renew everything, which happens like every 24,000 years.
Yeah. So
in that regard, we are guided and protected by
the Natharu.
By the Natharu. So
why have they allowed York to be imprisoned?
They haven't. Okay, that's a good question. But with everything, based on what we were saying, is like there is a design or a plan or a bigger picture that someone might not see if they only look at it from one aspect. And he's here for the planet. He's here for humanity. He's here to like we say, the religious world also speak about this time, saying that there will be a time where the truth will come, even though some of them would make it into someone's coming back to save you, like Jesus is going to come back because everyone's been waiting for him or whatever. They're saying the same thing in terms of someone's going to come that's going to come and change everything and bring truth, and all falsehood and things are going to perish, and there's going to be a new world. They will say things like the new world order. But the new world means that you've got to let go of the old ways, because this new age, people even refer to it as the Aquarian age, or the golden age, or the sun cycle. They have like many people that have been studying like ancient scriptures and things for years. Like when your eyes are to open, the conscious shift is going to take place. So many people have spoken about this, but they didn't quite know how or when it was going to happen. So anyone who's ever come to this planet before this time that was teaching truth, people weren't either ready for it at that time, or they got, do you know what I mean, unalived, imprisoned, whatever, do you know what I mean? Like, but this time round, it's like the cycle began in the year 2000, and we, the people on the planet, are starting to recognize the games and the people that were in control for the last 6,000 years, which were these other extraterrestrials. Like, people think, oh, they're in control, but they're only in control because a lot of the people on the planet haven't woken up like how you're doing, or like they're not tapped into their consciousness, and they're still being programmed and controlled by these systems that we call the matrix, that we, like religion and church and all these things that were set in place to control the masses. Now it's like the new currency is truth.
Yeah.
Because people want to know the truth. It's like you're really like that's if your eyes are open and you want to know the truth. But if you don't, you're going to be in the same place, but on a different vibration, a different conscious level. Like, you will just walk around, not maybe even seeing half of the stuff we talk about, or like be like, oh, that's nonsense, that's conspiracy theory, that's not real, and you just remain under that vibration. But yeah, those who are waking up, if this is the time, it was designed for this time, and those that were in control are now losing control. Like, those systems are actually falling down now.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Like, you can't really control people based on those old ways anymore. People are more sophisticated, more intelligent now, and it's just going to continue. So you can't fear telling the truth, because it's like there's more to be gained by sharing and helping the world to be a better place than to like continue the fear mongering, like the holding down people, and just people are suffering. People don't like what they see going on around the world. And of course there's going to be resistance, because change is constant, and some people don't want to see change, and they just want to be like stuck in the old ways, because it's the comfort zone. Like, they're comfortable doing the same things they've been doing for years and years, but they know deep down there's a yearning, there's a feeling that I want more. I know there's more, and there's
something missing.
There's something missing, yeah. And that's where a lot of people will like malfunction mentally, because you get a lot of mental health issues now, because you're trying to, like I said at the beginning, you're trying to make sense of the world and make sense of what you've been told, but it's not computing. It's just not, it's not making sense. So you're caught up in this loop, and you can just get to the point where, unfortunately, some people just lose their mind and just go, you know what I mean, I'm gonna go and shoot up a school and then take myself out, like, because they're just so delusioned with the world. So, but then if you are practicing mindfulness, all the things we've just spoken about, you're gonna be a better person, and then you will hopefully spread that and help other people too. And the more we keep doing it, like I keep saying, we can change the world by just changing yourself first of all.
But half of the issue is, from my experience, I've started working now, is people's time. That's another thing that I think the government or the extraterrestrials do really well, which is absorb so much of your time that you have no space to do anything else. Like everyone's focus, I've got to go to work Monday to Friday or 7 days a week, got to pay the bills. They've got no time for Wu-Sabat, they've got no time to think outside of the box.
That's the programming, but you do, because time is an illusion.
Yeah, exactly.
You control your time, and even if you go to work, it doesn't mean that you don't, because everyone's got, well, you can bend time, that's a whole different video. But like, everyone has the same, let's say, amount of hours. People say 24 hours in a day, but we know it's 12 hours in a day and 12 hours in what they call night. Everyone has the same amount of time, but you notice some people are able to do more and get more done in the same amount of time. And what you have to do is monitor what you're doing with your time. How much of it is spent on thinking about rubbish? How much is spent on social media? How much is spent on just like activities that are not really designed for you to get more out of your life, And you can break out of the 9 to 5 by just working for yourself or finding other means of income. And this is where that's traditional, like trading time for money.
Yep.
But now we're in a day and time where with the technology and the tools and everything, people are becoming more wealthy and more like in control of their own time because they work for themselves or they do things that you can earn money. Say for example, you can do something and earn the same amount of money in a couple of hours that somebody would do a week's work or a month's work for.
Yeah.
Which then will just make you think, wow, like I'm talking about, like there's many opportunities with AI, with like trading, with, do you know what I mean? Like being creative. There's so much things now available to people. And going back to the AI question you asked at the beginning, AI is actually getting rid of a lot of those jobs.
Yeah.
So
I know unemployment's coming, that's going to be a whole different thing.
Right. So if you haven't been working on yourself and doing something that you feel passionate about and it's a good purpose that will reward you anyway, eventually. If you're not thinking, if your focus is not the money, but it's about doing something you love, that you have a passion for, that will be helpful to humanity, you will be rewarded because the universe will actually look after you because you can basically manifest anything you want. So so there are ways of that's what we're saying about the distractions, like but there are people that you're going to work for.
Yeah.
So if they're able to pay you and they're not working because they're getting you to do it, you can also be like them and figure out how did they do what they're doing. So,
and the thing I noticed with my work as well, I was having some conversations recently. A lot of workplaces are full of broken dreams. Like I speak to a lot of them, they're like, oh, I wanted to. The manager I was speaking to the other day, he said, oh, I wanted to be own my own business.
Yeah.
And another one said, oh, I wanted to be repair bikes. I like bikes.
Yeah.
But then they give up on that because of their time being consumed, and they just let go.
And because of like over time you get all of these responsibilities as well that come, and then you slowly but surely lose your dream because you don't feel you have the capability or the ability to do it by yourself, you see. So that's what happens. But with Wu-Sabat, it's more of a community thing, so it's more like you can open and meet other people and network and work together. It's easier when someone is on the same journey and path as you, and you can actually do it. But that's if you don't kill that inner you, that dream. And that's what, the systems that are in place to control you have done. Like people people go to work a lot of the times just to pay their bills or just to get the money.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's not like they love or they're passionate about it. Not everyone. There are people who do a job that they actually absolutely like love and are passionate about it. But that's the balance that you need to strike.
But just a lot of them are institutionalised, aren't they, really? Like their creativity was killed, like we said before, from primary school all the way through. They just kill your creativity and put you in a box, so that you have no self-confidence to figure things out for yourself.
That's right, yeah. All right.
You want to leave it there?
Yeah, pleasure.
Sorry, my
Thanks.
hands are a bit
That's
sweaty
all
from
right.
using it.
Yeah, it's always interesting to speak to someone new and just see different perspectives that people have. But pleasure, man. Thanks for the questions, and maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Take care.